This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Icon Podcast. I'm your host, Gianna, and special thank you to Sphere Rocket VA for making yet another episode possible. We're super excited to get to know the best of the best at EXP, top 2%. And today we are featuring Mary Martin. Welcome to the Icon Podcast.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
And we're excited to get to know you. And so I guess the best place to start is going to be at the beginning. So take us back. Who's Mary Martin? Where are you from? How did you find yourself in real estate?
Yes. Okay. So I have lived in Birmingham, Alabama my whole life, born and raised. And I have just always had a passion for people and sales. And I always say it goes all the way back to kindergarten when I was a Girl Scout and would walk my neighborhood selling Girl Scout cookies. But I have just always loved being able to do my own thing, kind of have my career in my control, and kind of be in charge of my own trajectory. And, you know, I just love to do my own thing. So anyway, I've lived in Birmingham my whole life. And after a couple of years of college and quickly realizing that I didn't want to go the traditional route, I decided to leave and I got a sales job, and pretty soon after that realized this is my thing. I was able to manage a bunch of accounts across the Southeast. During that time, I met my husband and got married, and he comes from a mortgage family, and I knew I didn't want to do that side of things. I don't know how people do that. But I do love the housing side of it. And, of course, love HGTV and all of that. So once we had our first child in 2019, a few months after she was born, I decided I wanted to get back into work, but it just didn't make sense for me to do any type of traditional 8 to 5 or anything like that. And I knew with my skill set that I had already developed and with my husband's connections and things like that, that this would be a great opportunity to pursue real estate. So got my license at the end of 2019 and was ready to roll January 1st, 2020. So, and as we all know, shortly thereafter, the world completely collapsed. And so I was afraid I'd made like a huge mistake getting my license and going out on my own to this 100% commission-based job in the midst of this global pandemic that hit right as I was trying to get started. But it ended up being an amazing time to get into real estate. So the rest is history. It's been a really, really wild 2.5 years. But for the most part, really great. So that's kind of the background of how I even got here.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love that. And like, just, it started all the way back at selling Girl Scout cookies. Cute. And it's fun. You know, some people are just born with the personality to sell homes and to help people with these big decisions. And I love seeing how it all plays out. That's awesome. And obviously you're doing a really good job at it. Because you're an Icon agent, but I want to, before we get into the Icon Award or whatever, I want, more of your background. How did you cross paths with EXP? Was it your first brokerage? Were you introduced to EXP and kind of put it off? What's your story there?
So it's pretty wild how the whole thing happened. I've only ever been with EXP. I just struck gold and didn't even realize how good of a decision that was until I got into it. But a longtime family friend of ours has been a realtor for decades. So when I decided to get into real estate, he was the first person I reached out to and really trusted his judgment. And at the time, he was not with EXP. He had been with a different brokerage for about 19 years. And I reached out to him and I was like, I'm looking at getting my license. can I shadow you? Can you give me an idea of what this even looks like? I don't know what I'm getting myself into. And he pretty much talked me out of getting into real estate altogether and just told me that it's really hard. You're running your own business. There's nobody on your team but you. Like every single month you're starting from scratch. Every year you're starting from scratch. Like there's never a point where you've made it. Like you are constantly trying to get that next client under contract, and talked about how expensive it is to be an agent, and, you know, the monthly fees and the desk fees and the brokerage fees and all of that. And, you know, he was talking about how at the time he was paying like $1,500 to $2,000 a month to be a part of the brokerage he was a part of. And that was before he made a sale, you know? And so I knew as a brand new agent, there are going to be months that go by when I don't have a single closing, but I can't afford to be paying that much to be a part of a company, especially if I'm going to have to go out there and be getting my own business and figuring things out on my own. You know, it just didn't seem feasible. So he'd pretty much talked me out of real estate. And then about a month later, he called me and he was like, hey, let's revisit this real estate conversation, because I have been introduced to another brokerage, and I think this brokerage is going to set me up to be able to do well and to help mentor new agents like you, if you do want to still pursue this. And I think it would be a great brokerage for you because they have the training and the resources and the low fees and the low startup cost, where it just makes sense for a new agent to look at EXP.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So we ended up getting back together, and I love to tell the story because there were truly stars in his eyes when he was telling me about EXP. And this person has been in real estate since I was in diapers. And, you know, a month prior, we'd had a conversation where he'd pretty much talked me out of it and talked about how hard it is and how difficult it is and how, you know, you're pretty much thrown to the wolves and it's expensive, blah, blah, blah. And then now he's talking about real estate like he just got his license and he's fired up like never before. So I ended up just following him. And I was like, well, if you feel this strongly about it, then I might as well just do what you're doing. And with his ability to mentor me as a new agent, it just made sense. So I got my license, immediately joined EXP, and then very quickly realized that it was the best decision I could have made, you know, as a new agent. I didn't dance around different brokerages. I really didn't even interview other brokerages. I just knew everything he was telling me from his decades of experience being at multiple places. And I just knew that EXP couldn't compare. And so it was a huge leap of faith to just trust his judgment. But obviously I have not looked back one time. So
no, that's awesome. That's an incredible story. And it's really exciting, you know, that you had the opportunity presented you to jump over to EXP and the mentorship right off the bat. That's incredible. And very fortunate. A great start and good background for EXP. And, you know, Mary Martin, like obviously you've been here for a while and you're not a newbie real estate agent anymore and you're kicking butt. But what makes you really say, like, you know, I'm never leaving EXP? They've got the collaboration, stock options, rev share. What really, you know, makes you not want to dance around with other brokerages?
I mean, all of the above. I think the fact I love to think long term, and I'm a dreamer and I'm a planner and I like to know where things are going. I don't like to fly by the seat of my pants. And with EXP, I know that what I'm doing is setting myself up and setting my kids up. I've got a 3-year-old and an almost 1-year-old. I'm setting them up because of the multiple streams of income that I've got from EXP. It's putting our family in a financial position that we didn't think we would be able to be in for decades from now. And it's just, you know, the classic phrase, once you see it, you can't unsee it. But seeing the EXP model and seeing that, you know, I've got the fantastic commission split and that it's a level playing field for everybody. No one's playing any favorites here. The fantastic commission split and then the low cap, what happens when you do cap? Phenomenal. The ability to hit icon, which was a 5-year goal for me. I hit it in year 2 by the grace of God. I'm so excited. I'm going to be hitting it again this year, much sooner. But being able to do that no other brokerage offers anything comparable to that. So in addition to the commission and the stock awards that you get, I've also got this amazing revenue share that's just passive income coming in every single month, paying my bills, just from attracting people to the brokerage that has changed my life. It's not a sales pitch. It's really just look at my story. And, I sit down and regularly do the math. Like if I produce the same amount of volume that I'm producing here at EXP, if I did that somewhere else, I would be bringing home tens of thousands of dollars less. So why would I do that? Why would anybody do that themselves? It just makes sense to be somewhere where you are going to be maximizing your income. So at the end of the day, it really does come down to the way that it's setting my family up. And then on top of all of that, the agent collaboration, I can't even explain, how many different people I could reach out to at any given time for help with something. And, everyone has a vested interest in my success, which is great. And same for me with the agents that I've attracted. So of course I want them to do well. Of course, I'm going to be there to help them when they need me. But just the way that it's structured, it's, pretty much foolproof. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I'm set up for whatever I want to do. The trajectory of my career is kind of whatever I want it to be. But it's just win-win, however I decide to go. So.
Right. No, that's incredible. I like, every point that you've made with that and the opportunity to earn your cap back. And, for anybody out there listening who's not with EXP, you are leaving a lot of money on the table every year. And maybe it is best for you. I'm not saying EXP is best for everyone, but when it comes to looking at new brokerages, that's the number that you should be looking at first. It's crazy how much money you can be leaving on the table, enough to hire a personal assistant, enough to hire a team of virtual assistants. I mean, it's something that's money you could be leveraging. And it's just crazy to think about the opportunity that you're missing by not being over here at EXP and with the opportunity to earn your cap back. Yeah. And Mary Martin, you talked about it. You're a mama, you're a wife, you're a real estate agent, you're kicking butt. So you're busy. You've got a lot going on, right? To say the least. Yeah. So, how do you chase that work-life balance, right? So, there's no such thing as perfecting a work-life balance, but how are you chasing it to make sure that you're avoiding a burnout mode?
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty hot topic in our household right now, because 2020 and 2021 were insane. And I was just kind of figuring the whole thing out, and trying to do it all myself, trying to juggle all the plates myself, a lot of moving parts in real estate. Plus this market is, it's everybody knows it's just crazy. Mm-hmm. So by the end of 2021, I'd kind of reached a point where I was like, if I don't start making some changes, then I'm not going to be able to do this much longer. I felt like I'd lost years off my life. And I had a baby last year, and it was and there's no maternity leave in real estate. And I think that was really the kicker for me. He was born in May of 2021, and May of 2021 was my, personal record month at that point. I closed a couple million and had a baby and just kept on moving. Mm-hmm. And at the time it was like, oh, this is great. I can just keep on going. And everyone's like, wow, you're super mom. And then it caught up to me. And it was like, I realized towards the end of last year, I'm like, I didn't give myself a chance to mentally, physically, or emotionally recover from having a child, from expanding our family, from just the craziness that the year was. Like I almost doubled my income from 2020 to 2021, but I also doubled my workload and doubled the amount of kids that I had. And it was just too much. It was at the end of 2021, my husband and I went away for a couple of days to just kind of reassess everything and make a lot of decisions about if I want to be in this for the long haul, things are going to have to change. So going into 2022, I've actually done a lot of crazy things that have, some people think it's unbelievable the things that I'm doing and they would never do it for their business. And that's fine, but it works for me. I set very strict boundaries. My phone is on Do Not Disturb from 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. If you try to reach me during that time, you cannot. Even if the house is burning down, I will find out about it tomorrow. It just is what it is. I've also taken 2 days off per week. So Sundays and Mondays. Sunday is our family day. We go to church Sunday morning, and then we spend the rest of the afternoon at the park or whatever. And then Mondays, the kids are back in school. My husband's at work, but I stay home all day on Monday and just breathe. And I'm going to answer texts and emails and things like that, but I don't set any appointments on Mondays. And it's just my day to get my composure back. And so Tuesday through Saturday, like it's a grind, but it makes it worth it to be able to have those 2 days off. And I think that there's like this toxic element of the real estate culture just across the board, no matter what brokerage you're in, where everybody sort of glorifies the hustle, and working 24/7 and never seeing your kids and always being on the go and always grinding. And I thought I wanted that. Honestly, my first 2 years, I thought, well, I will just work 24/7. I'll just be on call all the time. I will be the most approachable, the most easy to reach agent. And it nearly killed me. And I realized it's just, even if my production levels were to slow down, it would be worth it if it meant not feeling like a crazy person.
Right.
So I've set up those boundaries on my phone. I take 2 days off per week. I also set my voicemail. My phone is just like ringing all day long, and my voicemail says the easiest way to reach me is through text. So please hang up and text me, and I will respond as soon as I can. Because if I answered my phone every time it rang, then I would never be off the phone. Right. And I have kids. So I don't want them to look back at their childhood and remember mom being on the phone all the time.
Right.
So I've done that. And then the biggest thing though, is I've got a transaction coordinator who handles everything from the time we go under contract until the closing table. And I just pay her per transaction. She crosses every T, dots every I, keeps me from doing anything illegal on accident. Like, she's incredible. Could not do it without her. And then I've got 2 virtual assistants. And so that, it sounds glamorous and bougie to be hiring help, but I honestly think the sooner you hire help, the more you'll be able to scale your business. I don't think you need to wait until you've reached a certain production level. I really think it's the reverse. I think you will not hit that production level until you've got people helping you get there. If you are spending 8 to 5 Monday through Friday ordering home warranties and scheduling termite inspections and all of that, you're not going out there and getting new business. So at the end of the day, you really need to be hiring out anything that somebody else would be able to do, so that your time and your energy is freed up to do the things that only you can do. So that has been tremendously helpful for me going into 2022, setting those boundaries, outsourcing, delegating. Like this, it's going to take a village for all of my people, like at home, and all of my clients. It's going to take a village to get us all to the closing table and to get us to school on time and to get things done and to get the house clean. And, it's this expectation that we've set on ourselves to be able to do it all. Like, that's the fastest way to burnout, the fastest way. And I don't know if you know Amy Gregory. She's a phenomenal EXP agent in Arizona, I believe. She's got this insane team of agents, and she's super inspirational. You should follow her on Instagram. Okay. I think she's Amy Gregory. But one thing that she says is the secret to doing it all is realizing that you can't do it all. And so you've got to be okay with leveraging your time and letting other people take on the things that you don't have to be doing, and figure out what your hourly rate is. And if you can hire somebody to do whatever that task is for less than it would effectively cost you to do it, then you need to be paying somebody else to do it. So that has been absolutely huge for my business and for my production and just for my sanity.
No, absolutely, Mary Martin. Like, that has been a very insightful topic today on this podcast, because everybody kind of like laughs at that question, right? There's no such thing as work-life balance, but you should be chasing it, right? And I like that you've set those boundaries out for yourself and that you're leveraging out what you can, because it's just the smart way. Like, it's just what needs to be done. Like you said, you're not going to get your business to the next level if you're not doing that. Yeah. And I think that that's incredible advice for anybody watching, whether that's, hiring a transaction coordinator, somebody to do your administrative work, virtual assistants, whatever it is, get it done, figure it out, because it's something that needs to be done. And I love the do not disturb. I'm a big do not disturb fan. If the house burns down, you'll find out tomorrow, and that'll be on you. But ultimately, everybody, like, sometimes there are just people that like to think things are emergencies, and they're not, right? Yes. And they can wait until tomorrow. So, and you're not likely to lose a client by getting back to them tomorrow. No. It'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's part of it for me too. You know, one of my assistants sends out a welcome email to any new client that I get, whether they're buying or selling, and it spells out all of my boundaries. And it basically gives them an out. You know, like if you're not okay with this, if you want to be able to reach me at 11 o'clock at night, then find somebody else, because I would rather lose the business now than get into the transaction and realize I've made a huge mistake. I never should have taken them on.
Right.
And after doing that enough times, I'm like, I'd rather just lose you from the beginning.
Right.
Because honestly, if clients can't respect the boundaries that you set for yourself and for your family, then it's not somebody you want to work with anyway. And it's worth freeing up your time so that you can work with people who actually respect it. And so far, I've gotten nothing but positive feedback from setting those boundaries. And, you know, honestly, most of the people in my sphere of influence, most of the people I'm working with are in a similar season of life anyway. They've got young kids or they're newlyweds or they're young professionals or whatever, but they understand, you know, at some point you've got to shut it all down. So far I've not lost anybody, but I would really be happy to give them that out from the very beginning, because it's just not worth anybody's time.
I love that. No, that's smart. And, you know, something that the listeners can take away from this podcast, because it's true. You know, it's, if you are experiencing burnout mode and you're like, man, what do I change first? It's probably a really good place to start.
Yeah.
Boundaries.
Definitely.
Well, Mary Martin, let's dive into the Icon Award, right? That's why you're on this podcast, kicking butt, production, all that good stuff. So you're in Alabama. So tell me, you know, about how many houses did you have to sell to cap and hit the Icon production level?
Yes. So to cap, it took about 10 houses. And then after that, let me think. I ended up selling somewhere around 36-ish houses total in order to be able to hit Icon. My average sale size has grown, but last year my average transaction size was somewhere between 300,000 and 350,000. That's a pretty safe bet for most people who are either first-time home buyers or they're upgrading from that first house because they've had a baby or whatever. So usually in that 300 range is the average size of a transaction. So it took about 36 total in order to be able to hit the Icon Award. And I came in, I got it by the skin of my teeth last year. So I literally was having to count my transactions, and I barely got it, but because it wasn't even on my radar last year. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. I didn't even go into the year aiming for it. And then I realized I was close. So then I pushed to make it happen.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's really cool. And I want to talk a little more about that in a second, but first we'll finish the Icon topic. Mary Martin, so, being an Icon Award winner, it's more than just the production. You've got to give back to EXP as a community, be a part of the culture. So, are you a coach, a mentor? Do you teach the EXP world? What avenue did you take to give back?
I'm a mentor, and it just it was the natural choice for me. My revenue share group has actually grown very quickly. And so it was just very natural for me to take on the mentorship role for the agents that I've sponsored. And so to be able to help them through those first 3 transactions, I was going to be doing it anyway. So it just makes sense to be the certified mentor and be compensated for it and recognized for it in the Icon world. So that's the avenue that I took.
Okay, that's really cool. And then, as far as iconing, you get a lot of benefits from it. And there's a lot of cool things that happen. You do get the opportunity to give back to EXP and be, an accredited, person and somebody people can trust and send their referrals to. You get a really nice, pretty glass trophy. It's hefty. You get the opportunity to go to EXPCon and shareholders. You get your cap back in stock. So what is your favorite part about it? What makes Mary Martin say, I want an Icon next year and the next year and the next year because of this?
Yeah. I would say the biggest thing is the stock, which interestingly enough, when I became an EXP agent, the stock was kind of the cherry on top. I really don't follow stocks. That's not my thing at all. So when I was being sold on EXP, I was like, okay, stock. Yeah, that's cool. But now that I've got it and recognizing what a big deal it is to have this much stock granted to me in the fastest growing real estate brokerage in the world. And I didn't have to do anything extra, quote unquote, in order to win that. It really just happened because I was producing what I was going to produce anyway. It's just the biggest honor, and just goes to show, that the company really does put the success of the agents before anything else. Because, like I said earlier, if I produce the same amount anywhere else, I'd get a pat on the back, maybe a plaque, to put on the wall or something. But being able to get back $16,000 in stock in the fastest growing real estate brokerage just for doing my job and for giving back and for taking care of the people that I've sponsored into the company is a huge deal. I will say the events are also a lot of fun. I went to EXP Con for the first time last November in Las Vegas, going again this year. Went in having no idea what to expect. I've never been to Vegas before. There's a lot of like stereotypes, and all of that is there. You can definitely find that world there if you want it. But the conference itself, I've never been more fired up to be an EXP agent. I mean, we had these incredible speakers, incredible events. I mean, food, drinks, activities, breakout sessions. I mean, I couldn't take notes fast enough. And I just felt so fired up to be a part of this amazing community. So EXPCon was great. And I'm going to my first shareholder summit in Orlando in June. So less than 2 months away from that. And it's just, it's just fun. I mean, every EXP agent I meet at these events, I'm blown away by what they're producing and blown away by how willing they are to share their secrets and to share how they got where they got. And that's how I feel about being an Icon Award winner. Just being able to share my story and to share, like, I did it very quickly. I did it faster than expected. But, part of it is because this is a skill that I have. I love to sell homes and I love to work with people. But the other part of it is the company has set me up to be able to do it, with the training and the resources and the collaboration and the help and the business model itself. I really don't think I would have produced this much had I been anywhere else, because I was able to have such an amazing launch pad from day one to be able to hit Icon in less than 2 years, and then to do it again this year, hopefully. So that's the long answer.
No, I love that. You're right. Like there are so many really cool things about iconing that make you want to do it again and again, and be fired up to be a part of EXP. And I think that is one of their best tactics as a brokerage and a company, for employee retention. Get people excited to be here. Give them a piece of the pie, right?
Right.
Why not?
Right.
And it shows, and people are scared to lose their affiliates to us. And it's just been crazy to see the growth. Just sailed past 80,000 agents, and the model continues to speak for itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I will say, there's something that really fires me up and gets me going and just excited to be a part of EXP when people are throwing rocks at it. Because, we catch a lot of flack being EXP agents, but, if people are talking about you or if they are, switching up their models to look like your model, then, you're doing something right,
Right.
I think if you're being talked about, then that's a good thing. If there's a target on your back, then there's a reason you're being watched and there's a reason you're being copied. And so instead of getting frustrated by it, which happens, just let it be an encouragement that, we really have chosen the greatest brokerage in the world, and we do get a piece of the pie, and we're all shareholders in our brokerage just by being a part of it and just by doing our jobs.
No, I love that. And it gets people excited. It attracts the rookies. It attracts the experts. I mean, it's growing really fast, and it's not too late to join EXP. That ship has not sailed. Come aboard. It only continues to get better.
It really does.
And Mary Martin, you talked a little earlier about, how you were just grinding your first year, and then you're like, oh, okay, Icon's within grasp. Let's get to it. Mm-hmm. And so, my next question is usually like scenario like, right? So where maybe I'm a new agent. I just joined Mary Martin's team, and, I just finished real estate school. I'm with EXP, everything's signed, sealed, delivered, but I haven't even written an offer letter yet. Mm-hmm. And I come to you and I'm like, Mary Martin, I really, really want to Icon my first year. Mm-hmm. Is that achievable? What are some mistakes that you made that could have cost you the Icon Award within your first year? I mean, what's that process look like for a rookie?
I honestly tell people, and I actually just had the opportunity to speak at an event with a bunch of realtors last week, so this is very fresh for me. Mm-hmm. I always say that the sooner you know who you're trying to reach, the sooner your business will grow. And the temptation for new agents is to take whatever they can get wherever they can get it from. And I did it. I looked all over the map my first year. And when I saw everything that I closed, I'm like, oh my gosh, I drove 60,000 miles in my car, closing $150,000 deals an hour from my house, and I was grateful for it. But I tell new agents, there is no shame in only saying yes to the business that you want to have, because once you kind of determine who your avatar is, who your ideal client is, and you're able to channel all of your marketing to reach that ideal client, people are going to come to you. You may lose some business from that because, especially if you set up like a geographical area as your niche, then there are going to be people that are like, oh, I'd like to use Mary Martin, but I don't think she works in my area, so I'll just find somebody else. That's okay. But the business that you will receive from people knowing what your niche is will be tenfold the people that are not going to work with you because of whatever you've niched down into. So I always tell people, I'm like, you don't have to have a single closing yet to decide who your ideal client is. If I could do anything different about my first year, I would not have said yes to anybody who had a pulse that asked me for help, because it just wasn't, I'm grateful for it still. It was a great year. But the reason that my production skyrocketed my second year and now into my third year is because I know exactly who I'm trying to reach. I refer out anything I don't want, and I'm not afraid to say no, and there are going to be people, especially in your first year, that are reaching out to you saying, hey, you're new, I'll work with you, but will you reduce your commission? And I said yes to that a couple times, and I should not have said yes to that. So know your worth and know who you're trying to reach, and channel all of your marketing toward the exact person that you're trying to reach so that you've got a consistent message, a consistent brand, and speak confidently about the 5% of real estate that you understand. People will assume you know the other 95%. And I just say, come out the gate strong and ready to go, and know who you are and know who it is that you're trying to reach. That's definitely my biggest piece of advice for newer agents, because I think that my big thing is I don't think you have to be in real estate 20 years before you start making waves in your market. I think the rookies can do it if they know who they're trying to get to. That's all it takes.
Right. Absolutely. No, that's awesome. Find your niche, find who you want to talk to and work with. And then, I love it, but understand your value.
Yeah.
And stand by that.
Yeah.
Right. As a rookie, you think that you need to, take less and reduce your commission and all of the above, when that's not necessarily true. And I like the speak confidently about the 5% you do know about, and the other 95% will come or be assumed that you do know.
Yes.
If you don't know the answer to the question, I'll get back to you on that.
Exactly. No shame whatsoever in saying, I haven't run into that issue before, but let me call my mentor. And I had my mentor literally on speed dial on my phone. And I would ask him questions all the time. And there's no shame in that, because the reality is when you become a realtor, you're flooded with real estate posts on your social media feeds and your Instagram and your Facebook, and you realize how many more realtors there are out there and how much they probably know in comparison to the little you know. But the reality is the sphere of influence that you're trying to reach, you probably know more than all of them. Right. And even, there are people out there that have even bought and sold multiple homes before that you still will know more than just by being a licensed agent. So be confident in the fact that you may only understand this much, but it's more than most people who are not licensed, who are the people that you're trying to reach.
Right. No, I love that. And that's really you have to think about yourself before you went to real estate school and did all these things. Are you looking for, the best realtor in the market, or are you just looking for somebody that like and trust?
Yeah.
Because there's a huge difference. You're going to find that. And Mary Martin, for my last question, for anybody out there, you were so lucky to have been presented EXP, and it is the first go, and you loved it, and you struck gold, and you're killing it. But, there are other people out there, and like you said, other brokerages are throwing rocks at EXP. It's a pyramid scheme. It's a cult. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Don't go over there. So for somebody that may be watching right now and they've got that sense of loyalty to their brokerage, and they've heard the scary things about EXP, but they see the grass is greener. They see people like you just killing it over here and loving it over here and really building an amazing culture. What would you have to say to somebody listening right now, sitting on that fence?
As far as the loyalty piece goes, because I do hear that a lot. People are loyal to their broker because it's their friend or because they've been with them for a long time. But at the end of the day, your business is your business. And if you do have that loyalty there, if your broker is your friend, for example, then in theory, they should be cheering you on no matter what brokerage you're at. And the brokerage that you choose to be with needs to be the one that benefits you the most. And there's no way for you to know which brokerage is going to benefit you the most unless you're asking the questions, having the conversations, and then being able to see real life experience. And like I mentioned earlier, you know, most brokerages right now are starting to kind of adjust their models and little tweaks, you know, very subtly to get closer to what we're doing, because what we're doing works clearly. And so that's the question I would ask, you know, is your brokerage making any changes? Because if they're making changes and they look like EXP, then there's a reason for that. Because one thing's for sure, EXP is not changing their model. And we're not trying to mimic anything anybody else is doing, because we are blazing that trail ourselves. And there's a reason that we're being watched. So I would just say to do your own research, talk to people that you know and trust, because there are most likely going to be multiple people you know who have jumped ship and gone to EXP. Ask them what their real experience has been. Ask the hard questions. Like, I've got friends that have moved over to EXP from other brokerages, and it was a little tense there for a minute because they were asking difficult questions. Like, do you really do XYZ? Do you really offer XYZ? And the answer is yes. You know, all of that is true. None of that's a sales gimmick. You know, it is a true 80-20. It is a true 100% when you cap. We don't do the royalty fees. You know, our stock really works, and we do have revenue share, and that's not the same as profit share. Revenue share is better. You make more money with revenue share. So just things like that. Don't be afraid to ask the difficult questions, but also don't make assumptions. And find people that you know and trust who are with EXP, and sit them down and ask them for the real story and what their experience has been. And I do think you'll be hard pressed to find somebody who has moved over to EXP and hasn't had a great experience. And if they did, then it's because they didn't plug in and didn't take advantage of what EXP has to offer. But if you come over and you really see what we are and what we're all about, and you get plugged in, you'll understand what the hype is all about.
I love that, Mary Martin. Absolutely. You know, ask questions. You're not going to find out the answer if you're not asking,
right?
You know, and anybody at EXP is going to be excited and eager to talk to you about EXP because they love it. And like you said, you know, if you find somebody that didn't have a good experience with EXP, it's likely that they weren't raising their hand for all the questions and to get the help that they, you know, were more than happy to get here at EXP. They didn't get involved in that. Comes down to them.
Right.
Sorry. Well, Mary Martin, you know, we are coming up on 40 minutes here. It's been an incredible episode. We've learned so much, and there's been so much valuable content here. Is there anything that you want to leave the listeners with as we wrap up today?
I would just say, if you have any questions about EXP, or if you're already with EXP, but you just want to get to know me, or ask further questions about boundaries and business and, you know, how I'm doing it, what I'm doing, please find me on Instagram and shoot me a DM. That is my preferred method of communication. I love to talk to people on Instagram. That's where most of my business comes from. That's where most of my revenue shares come from. But I really am an open book. I don't want to hold it all in and keep all the secrets, because I don't believe that anybody's success is going to threaten mine, and vice versa. So I'm happy to share what I've learned. And it has been a wild 2.5 years, but I want to share that. And I want other people to be able to experience it faster and better than I did. So please reach out. I'm happy to have a conversation. And if you are an EXP agent and you're going to be at the Shareholder Summit in Orlando in June or in Vegas in October, then let's definitely plan to grab a cup of coffee and talk for a few minutes between sessions. I would just love to be able to network with agents across the country.
I love that. Mary Martin, it has been an absolute pleasure today. I will be at Shareholders, so plan on being hunted down by me to hang out a little bit. And I really look forward to catching up with you then.
Awesome. That sounds great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and we will talk soon.
Okay, sounds good. Bye.
This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success, and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.